Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, October 27th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your decision-making process as a trader, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to help make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, just keep in the back of your mind that if you're new and you're enjoying what you're seeing as I go through the video and you would like to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency, then I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering on Thursday. So if you're interested, there's a link down in the description box on YouTube, or if you're watching at my site, then somewhere right there on the web page itself is going to have an area for you to click to get signed up. So like I said, no pressure or anything like that, but if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the class. First one here, ticker symbol PROG. A couple things. First off, I will be doing the 30-minute time frame on all these charts, meaning for those of you that are new, each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. Also, the market is still open for a few more minutes here. So yeah, you're not seeing anything. These candles are still changing because, again, technically speaking, the market is still open at the time, I'm doing this. But the day is almost over, so I feel more than confident kind of talking about these overall ideas here. But like I said, PROG, our first one, and the continuation has taken fruition as now, there was this pullback here, but the trend has begun to be built back in the upwards direction. Now there is some perspective that goes into this, meaning if you're some sort of day trader and you bought right there, or you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 10 minutes after buying, well then yeah, from that perspective, things are looking a little bit rough because it did pull back here. However, taking a step back, looking at things from the grand scheme of things, yeah, this pullback really doesn't mean anything significant. In fact, you could probably argue very successfully that this is actually a healthy pullback because no price can go straight up. You do need to see consolidations and pullbacks, and that's exactly what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these lines from previous times I've done this on my top 10 and map out a couple of newest areas. So in the newer levels of support now is going to be right here at $3.60. That would be the ideal level. I mean, if we're asked, what make this chart look the absolute best moving forward? Certainly if the price can stay above 360, so watch that. But from the overarching standpoint, key level to watch is going to be that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. As the name implies, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So in other words, from the broad scope of things, as long as the price stays above that purple line, the bulls are in full control. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, key level that really stands out to me right up there at $4.20. But overall, fantastic day. Next one, GNUS. And what I really like about this one, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that line, is now there's a very, very well-defined area. And I want to make this very clear. I'm not trying to imply that this is some great discovery on my part or that I have some sort of special talent. The exact opposite. I assure you, people that use charts, pay attention to charts, are going to be watching that level. And I say all that because when people around the world are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And I assure you, there is a bunch of people that have drawn that line right there. And they've noticed that not once, but twice, the price has gotten up to that 207 mark and has failed. So in technical terminology, this would be a breakout point. So for people that like to play breakouts, that's certainly going to be the area that they're watching. And like I said, while nothing is guaranteed, it is a more than plausible and rational thought that if the price comes back up to that area and can get the break up through it, that break in of itself could very well create quite a bit of upwards buying pressure. So definitely keep an eye on that. As far as areas of support are concerned, if this price pulls back a bit more, then keep a close eye on $1.78. That's an interesting level. And then there's also a little miniature level down there right around what's at that makes it easy, $1.68. So $1.78, $1.68, next couple levels of support if there is any sort of pullback. But I think the main dynamic here that most people are watching, wondering is, okay, big surge of momentum, pulling back. Is there going to be another surge that carries it not only up to that resistance, but then breaks up through there and creates that much more momentum? Let's see how the next few days play out. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and not a whole lot to update other than the fact of the price really is respecting this sideways channel, although I am going to make one adjustment to it now that we have more data after today, and that is the lower part of the channel being right down there at 35.75, and I make that adjustment because that's where the price bounced off of nicely on yesterday morning, and then you fast forward to today, and that's once again right where the price not only found support, but then once again got some good solid, upwards movement from that area. So 35.75, a very well-defined, very clear level of support. And as far as the pattern is concerned of the sideways channel here, that would just be the bottom of the channel itself. As far as the top of the channel is concerned, nothing new here. Still going to be up around that $38 mark. Although the one dynamic here that do want to point out is in regards to that purple line there, again, the 50-period moving average. But this time, because this moving average is up above the price, it would now not be considered an area of support, but an area of resistance. And because it has now crossed down below the top part of that channel, that's probably going to be more of a higher priority level of resistance. But if the price can push up through that 50-period moving average, then yeah, at that point, it goes right back to, focusing on whether or not the price can break to the upside of the sideways channel pattern. Next one, OCGN, and wow, is this an ugly, ugly looking chart. But as you loyal listeners have heard me say, there can be opportunity in ugly. And the reason why I would still give this a chance and call there, some opportunity out there has everything to do with, once again, that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, and also the pink line, the 200-period moving average. Because, when you stop and think about it, check out how crazy this move was. From all the way up here, dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. Oh, look right where it decided to bounce, right off that very famous 200-period moving average. And then when the price bounced back up, you can see now it's just hovering right there along that 50-period moving average. So while it very well may be game over, while I'm sure there's a bunch of people that are screaming, oh, this thing is the worst thing ever, and, rightfully so. If you're a day trader and you bought up there, then, yeah, you're probably not going to have a very good Tuesday evening here. But assuming that you are just kind of observing and you like to play these kind of mass chaos, big pullback type movements, it has started to go sideways, which, let me be very clear, just because there's a big pullback, just because the price started to go sideways, doesn't mean that this is guaranteed the bottom and the price is guaranteed to bounce. But again, is it at least a plausible, rational thought process to have a trade plan to consider? Absolutely. So if you do like to play these sorts of setups, no doubt about it, big move up, nasty, nasty move to the downside, getting some sideways movement right at these moving averages. Let's see if they can indeed produce a bounce. Next one, MYSZ, and same exact concept here, in the sense of nice move up, had this nice pattern here, but now the pattern has been broken on the downside. So, people are saying, well, geez, this chart is turning ugly, to which I would agree. But can there be some opportunity in ugly? No guarantees. But if you're saying, look at these moving averages down here, as we just saw with the previous one on OCGN, the price does like to respect those moving averages. Of course, not all the time, but, again, going back to, is it a rational area on the chart? Absolutely. So right down here around, let's call it $1.35. In my mind, very interesting level. Now, if you're not going to be respecting stop losses and implementing, risk management structures within your trade plan, then you definitely should not be touching any of these sorts of, setups here. But if you can, honor the risk, then yeah, from a risk reward standpoint, you can have whole lot of upside reward for, the relatively speaking small amount of risk if there is some more pullback that shows up. So, right now, buying around right here, maybe you see something that can justify it for yourself. But to me, this seems kind of like a random area on the chart. But yeah, if a little bit more ugly can show up and it can get down to that area, things could definitely get very, very interesting. Next one, BIMI, and what a monster day on this one. Volume came pouring in. Very clearly, the price exploded upwards, and there is just a whole lot more, momentum that's still very clear. So I think it's safe to say that quite a few people are going to be watching this one here on Wednesday, and nothing fancy here as far as, key levels of resistance. Just a question of, where did the momentum finally run out here? And that was up there at 265. So 265 going to be a very key and interesting level. Now, if the price can get up through there and bust up through it, well, then at that point, that's just a signal that the chart has gotten that much stronger. How strong? Well, the easiest way to look at that is, how much further up above 265 is it? The further up above 265, the stronger that you could say that the momentum has become. But as of right now, yeah, that was no doubt about it. This was a pretty nasty 30-minute session right there. Big drop, but you can see now the price is attempting to work its way back upwards. But even if it drops some more, within the grand scheme of things, still plenty of wiggle room here for the entire chart. For those of you that like to play pullbacks, interesting level down there right around $1.50. But all in all, for those of you that seek out big volume, big momentum, this is one that would make sense to have on your watch list. Next one, PHUN. And at this point, I would say the game is over. Now, the game can always start back up again, so don't get me wrong on that. But I talked about this in yesterday's video, and that whole dynamic was, big pullback, but at least it's still consolidating sideways here. And that is no longer the case. Not only has the price now broken down through that consolidation period, and not only has, look how tight that range has become. Volume has essentially disappeared. So that's what I would say, why I'd say the game is over. Let me be very clear. Can the game return? Can things get exciting again? Absolutely. That's always possible. But as far as, this just massiveness that occurred a few days ago, that seems to be all done for now. So wanted to do this one final time, just because obviously a lot of people are still talking about, hey, what's going on? And, from a very simplistic and charting standpoint, what's going on is people have moved on. People have found other stocks to trade. And what gives me the right, what's the clue to that? Again, just volume. Massive drop in volume. Prices barely got any volatility left in it. People have just moved on and are chasing other things. But hey, if the game can start back up again for this one, then yeah, people will return. Next one, IINN, and what a monster. And this is exactly why I like to do these when the market is still open, because you can see this final 30 minutes really has come back to life again. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, if this momentum continues, we can capture a breakout through the $8.75 mark, as that will be the main level of resistance watch going forward. Now, if this thing breaks up there in post-market or pre-market, it goes back to the whole concept of, okay, well, how strong is the chart now? How strong is the momentum? Well, the further the up above 875 the price is, the stronger as it has become. So yeah, I'm kind of stalling here. I'd love to see a breakout of that here as I do the recording, but I'm also not going to sit here and wait. We'll keep us moving here. But so that's just very clearly the main area of resistance, for the simple reasoning that's just where the momentum has stopped so far. As far as pullback areas, now have a very well-defined area right down there around $6.50. So from a pattern standpoint, just to make this very clear, so we have the resistance, we have the support, we have the momentum move right there. So this is what would be known as a bull flag pattern. And you can see as I talk, getting oh so close. But hey, the good news is by the time this goes live on YouTube, then you'll know exactly whether or not the price is broken up through that area or not. But as far as the video is concerned, I just want to keep us moving, but oh so close. Next one, DWAC, and same kind of idea here as PHUN, but not quite as much of the game over, because I think there's still a very valid, very potential, play here that's play that's in play, no pun intended here, a setup here that's in play. There we go. But would be the gap close right down here around that $51 mark, which you can see the price is getting very, very close to it right now, and in fact is forming a nice little small doji candle. So, from a risk-reward standpoint, would it make sense to think that the price could come down there, close the gap, and then get some sort of move to the upside? Once more, am I saying that it's going back above 160? I'm not saying that. But even any sort of, halfway, decent bounce, compared to the risk that would be required, you could have a very nice risk versus reward scenario there. So if you do like to play gap closes, then this is an interesting situation, especially when you look at the volume. Like PHUN, the volume has really dropped off. So it's not like the price is coming down here on massive, epic volume where it's just very clear everybody and their brother is dumping. No, very lackluster volume. Once more, does that mean that it's guaranteed to bounce? No, of course not. But is it a plausible thought process to have? Is it a valid trade plan to keep an eye on? Absolutely. So right down there around $50, $51, whatever you want to call it. Very interesting level because it was that previous breakout point, which also serves as the gap close location. So worth keeping an eye on. Next one here, PLTR, and I mean, just an awesome example of charting and how it works, but there's a rule in charting which states when levels of resistance are broken. So for those of you that watched the video from yesterday, talked about the resistance trend line right there, but when levels of resistance are broken, you want to see them act as support. So let me change that from red to green to represent support. I mean, check out what the price did today. Came down there, bounced right off that trend line, pulled back, bounced. And then you can see it's just surfing right on that trend line right there. So pretty crazy. This classic example of resistance now acting as support. But as far as the overall chart is concerned, everything is still perfectly fine. In fact, let me squeeze this down some more. You can see right here, the trend still very, very clearly in the upwards direction. Now, once more, it goes back to the perspective. The day traders, people that were buying up there, people that maybe bought right there, bought the dip, and they were day traders that bought the dip, and they were like, all right, I want to buy the dip and turn it around and sell it in the next 20 minutes. Okay, from that angle, those people, the chart looks really, really bad. But from everybody else, assuming you just care about the big picture point of view, sure, the price has pulled back quite a bit from those highs, but again, from the grand scheme of things, you can see that as far as lows are concerned, these lows keep getting higher and higher, and if you envision those as stair steps, that's what it's all about. You want to see stair steps being constructed in the upwards direction, and PLTR still completely has that on the table. So from the overarching standpoint, everything is still perfectly fine. But yeah, if you were some sort of day trader or something of that nature, then yeah, the chart, I realize I could sound crazy saying that the chart looks fine. But again, you got to keep in mind it's all about perspective. So yes, overall, the trend continues. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you are interested now in learning that much more about this tool of technical analysis and how it can be used and how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then like I said, the free live class will be this Thursday, October 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely go and get signed up for it. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, then please communicate that to me by hitting the like button and leaving a basic comment, even if it's just saying hi. the ticker symbol that you may be traded today or that you're watching tomorrow. But those two things communicate to me that it's worth my time and effort to put these videos together. And as long as I know that it's worth the time and effort because people are enjoying them, then I have no problem continuing to do them. So definitely hit that like button and then leave a basic comment below. And once more, if you want to learn more about this tool of technical analysis and how it can be used to build consistency, definitely get signed up for the class. Everybody take care. Have a good one.